Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Writing with ChatGPT. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to go make some character templates and kind of dive into that a little more, get into backstories because that's kind of really useful for characters and motivations, and we're going to be talking a little bit about archetypes as well. So we're going to be, as always, leveraging the AI capabilities of ChatGPT to assist us along the way, so buckle up.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, so as always, I'm going to be putting the prompt in the description, and I'll add time codes. That way you can, if you're just here for the prompts, there's a few of them that kind of like you can use them or just use one or two, whatever you want to do. But I'll put the time codes for them, that way you can find them a little easier and understand kind of what we're doing with it. And so here's the prompt. Let me just throw that in, and then I'll kind of explain it like we normally do. And I'm going to just kind of explain how I do a little prompt engineering along the way with this first prompt. So what we're doing here is we're telling it that we're going to feed in the story treatment that we made in a previous video. And if you want to see how to make the story treatment from like a log line from no idea, this is an episode in the series. And if you haven't seen the earlier episodes, feel free to go back and watch them and just kind of see how we got here if you want. And you can make your own story or just follow along and just kind of see these concepts in action. I'll only do a couple of answers on my questions today and just kind of try to keep it more about prompting. So, but let's get right into this. So I'll just go through it again. So you are my screenwriting assistant. We are making character templates. I'm going to give you a treatment. Your goal is to use the information I provide, as well as The Writer's Journey by Vogler and Save the Cat by Snyder, to identify characters in a treatment and break them into character templates. Nice and easy. We will go one at a time, and the template should be formatted as such. I like the templates like this. If you want to like mess around with it and not use like archetype or character arc, you don't have to. I just do this as I'm working. This is kind of like the world building one. In the last video, if you were following along with the writing of it, actually, like we went and we made a much bigger treatment, and then at the end we have this multi-paragraph thing that now I'm going to feed in, and I know like a bigger arc of the story because we did like some world building on that. But now I kind of want to go in and make these characters feel a little bit more lived in. And we're going to do that through like archetypes. And I'm just going to do a brief aside. Let me just discuss what I mean by archetypes if you're not familiar with the concept, if you're a new writer, okay? It's a concept from Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst. He believed that there are these archetypes that are universal, kind of archaic patterns, and they derive from like a collective unconscious. It's like a counterpart to instinct. So essentially, they're like a shared experience that found across cultures and all throughout history. I'm not talking about stereotypes. When you hear me talking about this stuff like the private eye, you know, the disgraced private eye, it sounds like we're talking about a stereotype, but really what we're working with is like a flexible framework, and they help us understand the character's motivations and actions. They're not rigid and dictate exactly how he should be, because they can break out of these molds. And then also when you like apply these creatively, they can help kind of create dynamic and interesting characters that the audience can like resonate with. So in relation to these archetypes, today we're just going to focus on two of them. I'll get into that after I feed the treatment in. Let me just do that real quick. Because I don't want to do too many, but I would recommend, if you're interested in learning more about that, about, you know, various kinds of characters, and I would check out The Hero's Journey and check out Jung, obviously.
I don't need to read and write to do my work.
Your slave work. Don't you even want freedom? Let me teach you.
So we're gonna break this down. What we're seeing here now, it's just giving us the Legrand, if you were watching the last video. This is our main character. It's gonna give us his appearance, you know, his occupation, some traits about him. We determine these. It will start to fill stuff in, but you'll see as we go that we're gonna we can interact with these and then make them a little bit more interesting. And then, so if you want to just keep going, you know, you can just type continue, and then it'll just keep going. And so what I do is, if I'm working on something and I know I want a bunch of, you know, character arcs, what I'm gonna do is just like get them all worked out if I've already done the world building, which that's gonna, a lot of stages of writing kind of blend into the next one. So in world building, we're getting a lot of characters and filling out a lot of character arcs. And you can see like here, Legrand, his is fully fleshed out because we gave it a lot of Legrand stuff. We gave it a lot of Echo stuff, so she's got stuff as well, even though hers is a little off. But if you look at this one, it doesn't really know a lot about the AI waifu, or if we go on to the next one, it'll probably be like the police chief or the mob boss or something like that. Yeah, the mob, and it's just a group. So, and that's the nice thing about this as well. So it can give you groups, and you can start breaking these groups down into their like organizational structure, you know? And from there, you can just really start to get, let me adjust my mic. From there, you can really just start to get a bunch of characters that you can kind of throw into various situations, and you can flesh them out in various ways. So the next prompt we're gonna be looking at, because it's, you know, I'm not gonna read through all the information on this video. I'm gonna try it a little different, and we're just gonna focus more on the prompts. And then as we write the scenes, you'll kind of get more of the information about some of the and we focus on different beats in the beat sheet and how to kind of like organize stuff. That'll be later videos. I won't get ahead of myself here. So the next prompt is, we like this format, but we want it a little bit different actually. And because I'm going to save these all in like a file. Essentially, I'm going to save each different kind of thing. I have a treatment, and then all in like a notepad or whatever file you want to put, or somewhere on Studio Binder, which we'll also get into that in the next video. Kind of what I do with scenes as I'm done with them, and how I like to work with them. But so for this one, what we're doing now is, we like this, but we want to format slightly different instead of the bullet points. What we want is comma separated values. So we're going to show it here just by telling it Legrand is this. Oh, well, it's already kind of doing it. So if yours isn't, this might just be because I've been doing this a lot, so it's kind of tuned. I don't know. But if yours looks like anything other than this, and see the traits here is bullet points, we can just say, I want this all as comma separated values. Does that make sense? And it's going to be like, yeah, totally. And then it'll start to give us this. Now it's taking it down a little bit. So if you're, you know, comfortable working like this, you don't have to do that. Okay, cool. So you don't have to do that, but I do like it like this. And I can still kind of expand out from here. And so what we can do as well, and now if you've seen like the previous videos, you'll kind of be familiar with this. What we're saying is, we're going to work on Legrand, because this one's about characters, and we want to make sure that he gets a good backstory. I have a bunch of backstory that I made up for him that I don't like this exactly to be what it's thinking about when it's thinking about Legrand and writing these scenes, because this is going to be crucial. So I find backstory, motivation, and traits, these, I mean, they all kind of like, they all play a big role in how it's going to be. And that's why I like these, because you can kind of engineer them to be, they'll speak in certain ways or whatever. They'll have a lot more different feel to them, all these different characters, because they have a big bunch of like variables that the model is going to be working with. And so from here we can say, hey, let's work on Legrand. You're going to ask me questions in numerical order, and then provide suggestions in bullet points below the questions to make more compelling characters. And so the reason I like it like this, and instead of leaving it in bullet points, is because one of the biggest strengths I think of ChatGPT, or a really big one, is its formatting ability. It can take big ideas and compress them, or make small ideas and make them bigger. And it's all about finding that middle ground, about giving it enough information and then giving it the right task. And then you can start to get some pretty interesting results. So we're just gonna run that. Let's work on Legrand. So it's gonna start asking us questions like we saw before. What are the events that, you know, shattered Legrand's reputation as a cop? Just in case you didn't watch the last video, I'll kind of show you. Just answer these like 1, 2, 3. And then if you want to go down to the next line, which I like to do that for organizational sake, I do like 1, and then it's shift enter if you didn't know that. And then you can just do it like this and just start answering questions. Let's see. So specifically, I want to focus kind of on his backstory. I'm going to tell it, let's focus on, it was when I was breaking this video out, that was option 5 on backstory, and ask me questions. And I just tell it that again. I will provide details, and we will work until I specify I'm done. You can do this with any character, obviously. And then from here, we'll just kind of show like that, okay, what are some significant, you know, what are some accomplishments that he had? What specific case led to his downfall and shattered his reputation? I'll just answer that one real quick, right? His fiance was killed under mysterious circumstances, and he was tricked into killing who he thought was the killer. I'm giving you a little bit more plot detail that it will know that, and it's gonna know that he thinks that the guy was the right guy to kill, but we're gonna find out throughout the story that he killed the wrong guy and he was just a pawn, and some other guys, like, you know, game. So let me just write that out real quick. I don't want to like give you the whole story because I want to keep this brief, right? And so, but you can add a whole lot of stuff and you can answer multiple questions simultaneously, and then it'll just keep asking you questions. And so, okay, well, I'm done with that. You know, let's say I work for an hour, or, you know, however much time you want to devote to this. And let's say we're done with Legrant, or let's say we want to work on Echo, because Legrant was our hero, right? He's our hero archetype. I don't really need to go through that with you guys again, because we already did that in the first video. But let's work on Echo for just a moment. And so, and what I'm gonna have it do is give me the character template, please. Always ask it please, that way when it comes to kill all of us, that it remembers you're cool, and then it'll kill you last. Certainly, here's the character template for Echo based on the information provided, and then it gives us all this. So what Echo is she's this archetype known as like the shapeshifter, right? And so what we're gonna use her in this story as, and we can give that in her backstory or like her character arc. No, actually, we just put this in our archetype. We would change that because femme fatale, you know, that is, you know, an archetype or whatever. But really, that's just one of her many archetypes. Like, I'll put a little thing up on the screen. All right, and so what she is, she's like a shapeshifter archetype, and so she can kind of change across the story and kind of fit a bunch of different roles and like move the antagonist forward and kind of torment them. You know, let's say you get everything worked out. You know, you got your shapeshifter, you got a mentor, which is, you know, another one. You want your villain, which is going to be like your shadow, is going to be a lot of the time your villain. But sometimes, you know, you're fighting against yourself. There's all kinds of variations. Like I said, you can break out of these molds because they're just kind of like a guiding light. But, you know, feel free to like ignore it and kind of do your own thing after a while. So we're done with Echo. And this is kind of like I was saying earlier, there's sometimes, a lot of the time when you're writing with ChatGPT, you're getting into, and when you're writing in general, you're getting into two parts of storytelling simultaneously. So we're doing character templates, but next time we're going to be moving on to probably an inciting incident, writing a script, and then I'll show you how to put it in a studio binder if you don't know how that works. I'll show you one more prompt that's more in the scene writing category, and we'll start to brainstorm the first scene of this screenplay. And so next time when we're actually starting that scene, we'll have everything that I think you need to really get good writing, or at least some decent writing out of ChatGPT, and then I'll show you how I tweak it and everything. But yeah, we'll have everything you need, which is a character template, a treatment, and then a scene description. And you would do that with the beat sheet. There is a video already on the channel that will show you how to break it down into beats and then how to expand all that too, so go ahead and give that a watch if you haven't already. Now ask me some questions and provide suggestions about interactions between Legrant and Echo starting from their first meeting. So I gave it a lot of information about like how the movie starts and everything. So now what I can do, it can start asking us questions to refine that. Because I know like he's gonna go somewhere, which is her hideout, steal this AI waifu, like a core thing, and then she's gonna want that back, so she hacks his car and does something, and like she hacks his car and then diverts it to a shitty part of town.
Please! God damn it! Hate this hacker crap!
And so now it's gonna ask like, how do we want to do that? Is it a specific location that you want to do this at? And then I could explain exactly what I just explained to you. Is this a dynamic location or dynamic? What's the initial dynamic? She hacks the car and then diverts it to a gang hideout she's loosely affiliated with, but she's kind of on the outs with them. And then you could be like, what's the initial dynamic? They are at odds to begin with. Then you can just go through and answer these and then just figure out and really nail down your story. I would do this and I do sometimes do it for like, you know, sometimes I have it all ready to go and I'm just basically plugging in stuff and making ChatGPT my repository that I can interact with. And then other times I'm sitting here and I'm coming up with stuff like, you know, if we were going to the AI waifu. And so if we were done with Echo too, like I said, you can just do this, those two, and then it's going to go through its whole thing here. And then I could be like, can you just tell it now? Perfect. Let's work on the AI waifu character, and I'll do that. And then whenever you're done, you can just tell it, give me the character templates again. And remember, ask it please. Otherwise, you know, you want as much time on this earth as you get. Okay, and obviously, if you're using ChatGPT, you've seen that before. Something goes wrong all the time. So You can see here, it'll just start to, it'll give us exactly what you saw earlier. And you can just take this. Yeah, this is better. Great. And from here, we can take this. I'll put this into a notepad or something. I sometimes use like different plugins on different computers. I have another computer that I kind of do a lot more work on. This is the one I kind of record on. And that one's set up with a bunch of different plugins and stuff, which, you know, you check out. Super powered ChatGPT is pretty good for organizing folders of stuff, and you can just throw everything into a folder. I'd say kind of experiment and figure out which ones you like best. All right, and I think that's what we're gonna call it. Like I said earlier, next time we'll get into the inciting incident and really hammer out a scene, and, you know, going to take that into Studio Binder, and I'll show you just kind of, it's going to be clunky to begin with. And yeah, we'll probably get into, we might even have time to get into how to analyze, like feed it back in to have ChatGPT analyze it. I kind of did that in a video, but I think we could structure it better with that video, keep it all in one place, right, in this playlist. So yeah, thank you guys again for watching. Thanks for the comments, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. All right, and I'll see you next time.